We traveled to each one of the 254 counties of Texas. The bluest places in the state, your Houstons, your El Pasos, your San Antonios, your Rio Grande Valley, to make sure that they were not taken for granted. But we also went to the reddest places, not in Texas, but in the United States of America, maybe on planet Earth. We have you beat Bland County. King County, Texas voted for Donald Trump 96% in the last election. But we showed up in King County, and for the people of King County, because they're every bit as deserving of being heard, of being listened to, of being fought for, of being served, and we have no ability to do that if we have not first shown up for them, listened to them, and understood their expectations, and then sought to perform them. Last thing, as I was walking in, I was talking to Larry a little bit and Elizabeth about broadband internet and the need to invest and partner with rural communities. And I remember being in Texas where we won more votes than any Democrat before, one independents, one Republicans, in part because we showed up everywhere. And one of those communities was Silverton, Texas. And I was talking about the need to invest in broadband because half of rural Texas cannot get online. So try finishing your education or looking for a job or starting a business or getting what you grow out to market if you cannot get online. And before I could finish my sentence, this guy stands up and he says, Beto, I was in first grade in 1937, and I can still remember the day that Congressman Lyndon Baines Johnson and President Franklin Delano Roosevelt connected our community to the rest of the world with the Rural Electrification Administration. Now, they didn't give us a handout. They didn't ask us just to accept their charity. They partnered with us and saw us as valuable and worthy, and our community as competitive as any other. And he said, you don't know what it felt like to me to be able to read under electric light, just like the kids in Chicago or London or Tokyo or anywhere else in the world. And he said, I also want you to know that every day after that, my daddy was a yellow dog Democrat. Folks showed up, folks delivered, folks listened to us and treated us with respect. I think that is key to defeating Donald Trump in November 2020, but more important than that, and to end with where I began, absolutely fundamental to bringing this divided country back together again and making sure that we achieve our potential and live up to our promise. So thank you all for being with us today and for inviting us out and organizing this event. Really, really grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I would love if you have questions to answer them, or ideas or suggestions, or just want to tell me more about Bland and Bland County. I'm here to listen and to learn. Sir.
Texas is the largest supporter of integrated student supports in the classroom, with communities and schools, and that partnership intertwined with their Department of Education. How would you go about replicating that model of putting someone in the school to help put together and collaborate with agencies to put, actually serve children inside of the school as opposed to children and families inside of schools?
Great question, and you've done your research. We were in a neighborhood in Houston, Texas that had been hit particularly hard by Hurricane Harvey. If you all remember that, in 2017, 58 inches of rain dropped out of the sky, which is the landfall record for a single storm in North American history. But it was the third 500-year flood in that region and for that neighborhood. And we were touring the neighborhood, and the neighborhood president, this guy Keith Downey, was talking about all of the impacts. Families who had built up equity in their homes, selling them for pennies on the dollar. Homes that had yet to be rebuilt. Of 5 libraries in the neighborhood, only one had reopened more than a year after Hurricane Harvey. And at the end, we were driving by Kashmir Elementary, and I said, well, this school has to just be a disaster then, given everything you told me. And he said, to your point, no, this is the bright spot in our community and in our neighborhood. You've got kids who are literally living and sleeping in the back of cars, who when they walk into the front door of that school are in the right place, and they know it, and they're made to feel that way because not only do they have world-class instruction in the classroom, their entire social and mental and behavioral well-being is addressed in that school. It's a complete or a community school. And those teachers who in some cases are struggling because we're not paying them enough, are funding not just the classroom decorations or the school supplies, but the meals for those kids who are on free and reduced breakfast and lunch, but don't have a dinner to look forward to. Buying a set of clothes for the kid who's shown up in the same set of clothes every single day and hasn't been able to take a shower because he or she is living in the backseat of that car. That school is all about every aspect of those kids' lives and being there for them, and the school was performing accordingly. And so I look at this as an investment that produces an extraordinary return well and above what the initial cost is to put in. And if we could replicate that, as you suggest, across the country, if we could expand that so it's not universal just for those kids who are 4 and 5 years old in kindergarten on up, but to kids 3 and 4 years old in pre-K universally on up. If we can make the investment in the technology, the infrastructure, but most importantly, the people, the counselors, the social workers, the therapists, the staff, those kids over the course of their lifetimes are going to do so much more than they would have otherwise. Academic achievement, economic achievement, the things that we can't measure but are important to our lives, the poems that they're going to write, the music that they will create, the works of art that they will produce, all of that comes through that investment. And I love that Larry began with that, this idea that we can have public education that is world-class in this country and is world-class no matter where you live or who you are. So thanks for asking.
Good,
appreciate it.
answer.
Thank you. Other questions, comments, suggestions? Yes?
Okay, we're Appalachia, and Appalachia's dealing with coal and lack of jobs and all that. And even if they bring coal back, they'll never bring back the jobs because of mechanization. Now we've got the farmers in the Midwest having a hard time. And we were trying to start small farms back up in Appalachia. And, what are your plans for that kind of stuff? What's your energy?
Yeah. So you mentioned energy, you mentioned jobs, you mentioned agriculture. Just 3 real easy ones to start off with, right? So when it comes to the jobs in this community, you're going to be our best guide. Rather than Washington, D.C. dictating what the solution is going to be for coal jobs that are never going to come back, which we should be very clear about. And we've looked at the numbers and seen the decline well before the Obama administration, continuing through that one and into this one as well. Let's be honest that those are not coming back and that we need something that will replace that. What if we make sure, at a minimum, following your guidance, that we make capital available to the community? So doubling the size of community development finance institutions. So the next person who's going to start a small business here, or a farm, or a factory, making sure they have the seed capital in order to do that. We want to make sure that those workers that they hire are trained and ready for that. So ensuring that community college and an associate's degree is absolutely free for every single American. 4-year degree is debt-free for lower income and middle income Americans. And if you have outstanding student loan debt, that we reduce the interest payments to the lowest possible rate and forgive it altogether if you dedicate your life to some form of public service. That can be teaching, it can be working at a VA, it can be in local, county, state, or federal government. If you're going to put your talent to use for all of us, we are all going to make sure that you can focus on that and not have to worry about your debt. For those who choose to go into agriculture, the way one farmer put it to me, and it's hard to argue with, I just want to be able to make a profit. That's all I'm asking for. I don't want a handout, I don't want to bail out. I just want to be able to grow what will sustain my family, my community, and my country, and be able to turn a profit